Birmingham in the 18th century was a town on the cusp of transformation. This was a time before the rumble of factories, a time when Birmingham's future as the workshop of the world was yet to be written in the language of iron and steel. Yet, change was coming, heralded by the sound of pickaxes breaking ground and the gentle lapping of water against newly dug earth. Birmingham's canals, these man-made rivers, were about to be born. The idea was simple, yet revolutionary, to create a network of waterways that would connect Birmingham to the rest of the country. This was the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, and raw materials were the lifeblood of progress. Coal from the Black Country, limestone from Dudley, these were the ingredients needed to fuel Birmingham's burgeoning industries. And these canals, these liquid highways, would be the arteries carrying those vital resources. The first of these waterways, the Birmingham Canal, opened in 1772. It was a moment of celebration, a testament to the vision and the sweat of the men who had made it possible. But it was only the beginning. The success of the Birmingham Canal sparked a frenzy of canal building, a network of interconnected waterways that would crisscross the landscape, forever changing the face of Birmingham. These early canals were not the picturesque waterways we often associate with leisure and tranquility today. They were working canals, gritty and bustling with activity. The air was thick with the smell of coal dust and the shouts of the workers loading and unloading cargo. These were the arteries of industry, the veins through which the lifeblood of Birmingham's economic miracle flowed. The arrival of the canals ignited an industrial revolution in Birmingham. Factories, workshops and foundries sprang up along the banks of these new waterways like mushrooms after the rain. The canals provided not just the means to transport raw materials, but also a way to move finished goods to markets across the country. This was the birth of Birmingham as a manufacturing powerhouse, a transformation fueled by the silent power of water. One of the most significant impacts of the canals was the dramatic reduction in transportation costs. Before the canals, moving goods was a costly and time-consuming affair, often reliant on horses and carts that struggled along poorly maintained roads. The canals changed all that. Boats could carry far larger loads than any horse-drawn wagon, and they could do so more quickly and cheaply. This reduction in transportation costs was a key factor in Birmingham's industrial boom. The canals also facilitated the growth of specialized industries in Birmingham. With easy access to raw materials like coal and iron, Birmingham became a center for metalworking, producing everything from nails and buttons to guns and jewelry. The city's reputation for quality and innovation spread, and soon Birmingham was known as the workshop of the world. Yet the impact of the canals went far beyond the realm of economics. They transformed the very fabric of Birmingham, shaping its landscape, its people, and its identity. The canals were not just waterways, they were the lifeblood of a city undergoing a profound transformation. The early canals acted as catalysts, sparking a frenzy of canal building that would last for decades. It was a time of immense engineering ambition, a testament to the ingenuity and determination of the canal builders. Mile after mile, these man-made waterways were carved through the landscape, connecting towns, villages, and industries. One of the most remarkable feats of canal engineering was the construction of tunnels. Faced with hills and ridges that blocked their path, the canal builders burrowed underground, creating subterranean waterways that allowed boats to navigate these obstacles. These tunnels, often dug by hand in dangerous and cramped conditions, are a testament to the skill and resilience of the people who built them. The canals were not just straight lines on a map. They were complex networks with junctions, branches, and basins that allowed boats to navigate to their destinations. These waterways were the arteries of a complex industrial ecosystem, connecting mines, factories, and warehouses in a web of interdependence. The development of the canal network was not without its challenges. There were engineering difficulties, financial setbacks, and fierce competition between rival canal companies. Yet despite these obstacles, the network grew, driven by the insatiable demands of industry and the promise of profit. The canals were more than just waterways. They were bustling thoroughfares teeming with life and activity. A diverse flotilla of vessels plied these man-made rivers, each with its own role to play in the intricate dance of commerce and industry. There were the broad-beamed barges, the workhorses of the canals, capable of carrying tons of cargo. These ungainly-looking vessels, often pulled by horses walking along the towpaths, were the backbone of the canal network, transporting raw materials and finished goods. The smaller narrowboats, with their distinctive shape and colourful paintwork, were a common sight on the canals. These nimble vessels, often operated by families who lived on board, were used for a variety of purposes, from carrying small cargoes to transporting passengers. The canals were not just places of work, they were also places where people lived, raised families and formed communities. Life on the canals was hard, but it was also filled with a unique sense of freedom and camaraderie. The canal boat families, often living in cramped quarters, developed their own distinct culture, with their own traditions, songs and stories. Section 5. The human cost of progress. The canals brought prosperity to Birmingham, but this prosperity came at a price. The construction and operation of the canals were dangerous and demanding, and it was often the poorest and most vulnerable in society who bore the brunt of the risks. The navvies, the labourers who dug the canals, were a tough and hardy breed. They worked long hours in all weathers, facing the constant threats of accidents, disease and injury. Many of them were Irish immigrants, driven from their homeland by poverty and famine, seeking a better life in the industrial heartlands of England. Life on the canals was no less arduous for the families who lived and worked on the narrowboats. Children as young as 7 or 8 were expected to work, helping to load and unload cargo, and walking for miles along the towpaths, leading the horses that pulled the boats. Education was a luxury few could afford, and many canal children grew up illiterate. The canals, for all the prosperity they brought, also had a dark side. They were polluted by industrial waste, and the cramped and unsanitary living conditions on some of the boats led to outbreaks of disease. The canals were a microcosm of industrial society, reflecting both its dynamism and its inequalities. Section 6. Birmingham's canals in decline. The arrival of the railways in the mid-19th century heralded a new era in transportation, and for the canals, it marked the beginning of a long decline. The railways were faster, more efficient, and could carry a wider variety of goods. The canals, once symbols of progress, were increasingly seen as relics of a bygone era. The decline of the canals was gradual but relentless. As the railways expanded their reach, the volume of goods transported by canal dwindled. Factories and warehouses that had once clustered around the canal basins were abandoned or demolished. The canals, once bustling arteries of commerce, fell silent. The decline of the canals had a profound impact on the communities that had depended on them. The canal boat families, once a familiar sight on the waterways, found their way of life disappearing. Many were forced to seek work on land, often in the factories and mills that had contributed to the canal's demise. The canals, once symbols of Birmingham's industrial might, became symbols of decline and neglect. They were seen as eyesores, polluted and choked with weeds, a reminder of a bygone era. But even in their darkest hour, there were those who recognized the hidden potential of these forgotten waterways. Section 7. A second spring for the waterways. The latter half of the 20th century witnessed a remarkable revival of interest in Birmingham's canals. This was not driven by economic necessity, as it had been in the 18th century, but by a growing appreciation for the historical and recreational value of these waterways. Volunteers played a crucial role in the regeneration of the canals. Armed with spades, shovels, and a passion for preserving their industrial heritage, they set about clearing rubbish, restoring towpaths, and bringing life back to the derelict waterways. The restoration of the canals was not just about preserving the past, it was also about creating a better future for Birmingham. The canals, once symbols of industrial decline, were transformed into vibrant public spaces, offering opportunities for leisure, recreation, and tourism. The regeneration of the canals was a remarkable achievement, a testament to the power of community spirit and the enduring appeal of these waterways. They serve as a reminder that even in the heart of a modern city, it is still possible to find traces of the past, and that these traces can be transformed into something valuable and enduring. Section 8. The Canals Today, a Legacy Renewed. Today, Birmingham's canals are a far cry from the grimy industrial waterways of the past. They are havens of peace and tranquility, offering an escape from the hustle and bustle of city life. The towpaths, once the domain of horses pulling barges, are now popular routes for walkers, cyclists and joggers. The canal basins, once bustling hubs of commerce, have been transformed into vibrant waterside developments, with apartments, restaurants and bars overlooking the water. The canals, once symbols of industrial decline, have become desirable places to live, work and play. The canals are also a reminder of Birmingham's rich industrial heritage. Museums and heritage centres tell the story of the canals, the people who built them, and the communities that lived and worked on them. The canals are a living link to Birmingham's past, a testament to the city's enduring spirit of innovation and resilience. The story of Birmingham's canals is a story of transformation, from industrial workhorses to neglected waterways, and finally to treasured assets. They are a reminder that even in a rapidly changing world, the past can still have relevance and beauty, and that sometimes the best way to move forward is to look back. Section 9. The Future of Birmingham's Liquid Arteries. As Birmingham looks to the future, its canals are once again playing a vital role in the city's development. They are seen as key to regeneration projects, attracting investment, creating jobs, and improving the quality of life for residents. There are plans to further develop the canal network, creating new routes and connections, and opening up even more of the city to the waterways. These plans are not just about creating attractive public spaces. They're also about promoting sustainable transport and reducing congestion. The canals are also at the heart of Birmingham's efforts to become a greener and more environmentally friendly city. The waterways provide a natural habitat for wildlife, and there are plans to create new green spaces and nature reserves along the canal banks. The future of Birmingham's canals is bright. They are no longer relics of the past, but vibrant and dynamic spaces that are playing a vital role in the city's present and future. They are a reminder that even in the heart of a modern metropolis, nature can still thrive, and that the past can continue to inspire and shape the future.